If you like this video, make sure to visit our Vimeo page and follow us to get the latest update.
Right. So yesterday we have started working on different kinds of programs using SQL Script. Right. So we try to start with small examples, like to see different various concepts of creating and declaring variables, doing implicit declarations, explicit declarations, right? Creating table types, creating tables, right? Using cursor types, arrays, all these things. So once we learn this basic concepts, right, we started to work on a scenario, right? So what is the scenario we are trying to build? The same scenario what we have built using the information models, right? If you go back and open our information model, this is the one which we have built, in which we have displayed company name, BPID, that's open currency, gross amount, and all these things, right? So similarly, we are trying to build the same kind of an output, and we want to see the same kind of a result using SQL script, right? So for that, what we have done is we started creating a table type. Okay, this is the table type what we have built, right? We place the columns whatever we want to display to the user, which is BPID, company name, open days, gross amount, currency code, and tagging. We have added this tagging field just to give the end user or suggest the end user that whatever the threshold value you have to settle the invoice, that period has crossed. Let's say I have put the threshold value for the invoice settlement as 30 days. If it crossed 30 days, we'll check with open days. If it crossed that value, we'll tag this field. This is a custom field what we thought of displaying it to the user, right? Once we create this table type, right? Once we create this table type, we have created a procedure. We have created a procedure called procedure underscore scenario. This is the one which we created. And the output, as an output, we want the table type output or the table type structure, whatever we have created for the scenario, right? So that is the reason why we have placed this ET scenario and mapped within the table type what we have created, so that whatever the columns we are expecting, those will be our output structure, right? So what we had done is we started with a simple program trying to just display the values of BPID, company name. We have hard-coded open days, we have hard-coded gross amount, we have hard-coded currency code, and we are just left tagging as it is. Because these are straightforward BPID and company name, we just started with that, executed the queries, and we got the output, right? The next thing what we have started is we want to now calculate the open days based on the data what we have in the database tables, and from there we want to display it dynamically. It's not like we want to hard code it. We want to display and calculate the open days based on the invoice changed at date and the current date, and we want to calculate it dynamically, like what or how we do in the real-time systems, right? For that, what we have done. Okay, let's see the one which we have written yesterday. Okay, so this is the code what we have written yesterday. So we started with the select statement, select pp.bpid, pp.company name, and this one. We want to use a method called seconds underscore between, which is a standard method which SAP has given to us. So what this particular seconds underscore between does is, if you pass 2 days, right? If you pass 2 days, it will calculate the difference between those 2 days, and it will give us the result back. That's what this particular seconds underscore between function does. So now our aim is to pass 2 values. The first one is the changed date. Second one is the current date, right? So what did we do? So in the second parameter, we have passed the current date in the form of a local to UTC with this method, we got the current date in the CET, and then we have converted into a timestamp. So we have got the second variable or the second date, which we have considered it as Y. Right? Now we want to convert the first variable or the first date, which is changed at date, which is our X, right? So for that, what I have done is, so I have taken the inv dot change date, which is a change date value, or which gives the date value of change date. And because as we know that the date length would be 14, I have doing the what do you call it, trimming at 14 digits, right? And I'm considering only the left part, and I'm converting my whole output into a timestamp, so that these two are in the timestamps X and Y, and we will be able to calculate the difference between these two using the seconds underscore between function. And we are calling this particular or this entire calculation as open underscore days, right? And then finally, we are doing the join between INV head and the BPA table. And we want only the common entries which we have in terms of the buyer grid should be equal to the node grid. So what are the entries which are matching in those tables? We want only those records. And as we know, we are working at a database layer. That is the reason why I have manually passed the client as well. Because we are working at a database level, the client will not be handled manually. So that's the reason why I have placed the client as 400. Any questions till this one? Okay, good. So yesterday when we ran this particular program, we got an error, right? So when I just try to debug and see what's happening, when I say debug, I just try to understand the fields and see what is happening. I went into this particular table, which is in our case IMU, right? Yeah, IMU head table, right? If you see changed it, so the change date is not a date field here. So initially by default, because generally it will be in the date field, that's the reason why I directly wrote it as a date field. But if you see this changed at date, it's in the data type is decimal 21.7. Even if you see the output, change, let's see, it is in the decimal format. It's not in the date format. Right? So how they read it in the decimal format. So that's what caused the issue, because what we are trying to do is, so if you see this above step, so we are considering directly it as a date and converting and trying to convert to timestamp. That's where it got failed. Right. So what now I did was, now I changed into a decimal. So if you see here, the rest of the code remains the same. I did only change to this particular value, nothing else. Okay, let me scroll up so that you can try to see both of them. Okay, see. So what I did was I just changed only this part. Whatever the input I'm trying to access for the X variable, I have changed it. How I have changed it? Everything remains the same here also. So I want the value of inv.changedDate, right? And I want till 14 characters because that's what the date changes. I don't want any decimal characters. And I'm using a function called to_decimal. Right? I am trying to convert this decimal value, and I'm reading it and then passing that to the timestamp. Clear? Because if you see the data type is decimal, so I don't want all those 21 characters. If you see the output also, if you see the output, right, change rate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's see. 2016, 03, 14 followed by hours, minutes, and seconds. This is what we want. We don't want the rest parts, which is a decimal here. So I don't want those entries. So that's why what I have done is I have taken the value of invoice change rate. I need till 14 characters and I don't want any decimals. This entire value after converting to this one decimal, I'm passing it to the timestamp. Any questions? Okay, good. So once we get the output based on our inner joins, what we are trying to do is we are trying to do or use a function average to average the open days, whatever we get, right, from the LT underscore open table based on the query what we wrote, right, and we are placing it inside an inside internal table again. And that particular table, we are doing a join in the final output statement. If you see here, we are doing inner join based on the dates of the BPID in this particular table, because if you see, we did a select statement for BPID. So we're doing a join for BPID in the LT open with the BPID in the SNW underscore BP. Here. So once these two matches, only the records relevant to that particular entries will get it. Right? Let's try to. Okay, there is some. Okay. Let me try to execute this. Okay. Now let me call the procedure. Call procedure. Yeah, this is it. And if you see now, we are able to see the output successfully, and we can see the open edge. You can see because it is not hard coded. You can see different values based on the invoice dates. Any questions? Okay, good. Okay, we are done with the. Okay. We are done with the BPID, company name, and the open days. Now we'll concentrate on the gross amount, because even if you see here, we have hard coded the gross amount as 5,000. Right. So now let's do the currency conversion. Right. So now let's do the currency conversion. Right. Let's do the currency conversion from here. Right. So I'll take LT underscore total underscore amount. Okay. And I'll write a sales query similar to the BP select BP underscore ID company underscore name and gross amount. Is gross amount. Currency underscore code from SAP ABAP 1 dot SNWD dot SNWD underscore SO underscore INV underscore. I'm now taking it to the item table as item, and I'm doing a inner join with the item join with the header table, invoice header. Underscore SO underscore and as header on. Let me go into the Okay, this is the parent key. The wrong items. Parent key should be equal to header node key. Header node key, right? And we're trying to get the amount, right? So we'll do in a join. And SAP NW_BPA as BPA on PA dot node_key. BPA should be equal to the headers by year grid because it is a BPA. Year grid, and where we want the header.payment status should be null for us because that means the payment is not yet done. Null, and we'll pass the client. Any questions? So what we are trying to do is, so whatever the amount we are trying to calculate here, so this amount is the total amount of the individual currencies, right? So what we have done is, like how we did in the information model. First, we got all the values of the gross amounts, right? And then we did the currency conversion for our required value. So similarly, now what we're trying to do, we're just trying to get all the values of the gross amounts. Right, okay. This one I have used items, right? So this will be your item dot gross amount and item dot currency code. You're getting these values from the here. Okay, good. And we'll also do the sum of the gross amount because we're doing a total, right? So we'll do a sum of the gross amounts. Okay. Just have a look at the query for a couple of seconds and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, good. Then let me execute this query.
Yeah, before you execute, you can change SAA BAP1 to SAP ABAP and stuff like that.
SAP ABAP one only, right?
Yeah, first line.
F1. Okay, here. Okay, got it. Okay, right.
Third line SNWD BPA.
Yeah, yes. Node key, buyer ID, payment status. Okay.
I think we are good.
Good, and we'll also try to change the final end statement, right? Because we want the whatever the amount we are trying to calculate, we want to display it over there, right? So let's go and display it. Or else we'll display after the currency conversion. That will be easy. Both things will be done in a single shot. Okay. Right. So this is how we can get the total gross amounts from the backend database tables, and we are trying to do a sum of it. And we are doing the summation of it. Okay, good. So now what we'll try to do is we will try to do the currency conversion of this particular amount, whatever we are getting, right? So what we got is we got the values of amounts based on the query what we wrote. Now we will do the currency conversion. Now we will do a currency conversion on this one, and let's see. So how can we do the currency conversion? So if you try to go back to our model, which we have created in the information views, right here. So what we did, so here, if you remember, we created something called a calculated column to convert the gross amount. Here, if you open this one, we use the currency conversion, right? We did some currency conversion. We use that when we have tried to convert it, right? So in SQL script also, we will try to use a similar conversion function, which is provided by default by SAP. So it's like a built-in function to do the currency conversion, right? Right. Let's see how we can use it. So I'll capture it inside the. Okay, let me try to first do this one. Execute just so that we don't have any errors. Okay, yeah. Valid column name. Oh, it's not ID, I think. Buyer GUID. Okay, so group by clause of aggregation does not change item dot. Okay, I missed this group by, right? If you see here, we wrote the select statement, and as a basic principle, we whatever we learned, so we need to place these things because we are using a function here, which is a sum average. What if you do this kind of activities in the select statements, you need to add your rest of the fields in the group by. Okay, so let's add VP underscore ID, company underscore name, and item dot currency underscore. Let me now execute. Okay, it got executed successfully. Now we'll try to do the conversion. So let me take LT underscore amounts, and we'll use something called CE underscore conversion. Okay, this is the built-in function which actually helps us to do the currency conversion, right? Good. Okay, this is the function which we use to do the currency conversion. Let's see what are the different parameters we can use. So let me show you if we get any from here. Yeah, F1 is not helping here, but if you just do a see that the standard functionality, you should be able to see the different kinds of parameters what I'm using now. Okay, so the first and foremost thing is, so I need to pass the input, right? So I need to pass the input to tell this conversion functions what are all the values it need to convert, right? So my input is in LT underscore total underscore amount, right? And now we'll pass all the required parameters. Right. So now we'll pass all the required parameters. So to this currency conversion, we need to tell what is the family, right? So family is nothing but we are telling that this is a currency. So you need to do a currency conversion for this particular function, right? And when you also need to tell what is the method I need to use. These are all hard-coded and standard values which are provided by SAP. So there is no need for you to change. If you want to do a currency conversion using SQL script, you can just use the same as these parameters and the same template. If you want more, okay, let me show you one thing. If internet is there, I can show you, but let me check. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I think. So if you just put this in the Google, right, you'll get the first link, which is help.sap.com. Just click on that. Yeah, if you scroll down, so this is what I'm using. Okay, so this is the standard thing what we can see. Family, currency, method, ERP. Steps, we have something called shift, convert, and shift underscore back, right? So the same default steps we'll use, right? And your target unit, your client, what is your source unit column? So which column you are passing it as a source? What is the reference date in which you want to use the conversion? This one. So like how we give it? So we give today date while doing the conversion information model. Similarly, what is the reference date? In which column your converted output should be saved, right? And what to do in terms of getting an error and doing the conversion. And once all these things are calculated, then we are storing it in a variable. We'll use the same template here as well. So if you see here, we are passing the prices where they have all the prices into this variable, and then they are doing this calculation. Similarly, we have passed the first parameter as the total amounts. We have passed family as currency, method as ERP, steps as shift, convert, shift underscore back. Like this is like a standard things what it will try to save. So if you want to see more about documentation, we should see that one as well. Okay, so this is what you should go for actually. So this is what you should go. And here you can find the entire documentation of SQL script. What is declarative? What is imperative? Right? So what are procedures? What is this one? What is system variables? So everything you can see here. If you put that C underscore conversion here. Yeah, right. This is what actually I was trying to show you. Right here you can say family, currency, it's a mandatory field. Method, ERP, it's also key, it's a mandatory field. Error handling, right? By default, it's on a fail on error, like what we used to have in this one also. Here, if you see, right, while doing the conversion, if something goes wrong, what we have asked this conversion to do. Scroll down. This one, upon conversion failure, we put it as ignore because it's our testing system. right? If not, you can do a change over there. Similarly, you need to tell what should happen when something got failed during conversion. Either you can set to null, you can keep unconverted and proceed on the next steps, or you should just stop at the particular point. Right? So we have output, we have source underscore unit, target, reference date is the default reference date for the conversion, what it is trying to do. Clear? Right. Good. So now we'll use the same fields are there, and I'll try to show you what happens when you use these particular syntaxes are there. Okay, let me go back to Studio and provide the client name. In our case, it is 400. And now we'll give source underscore unit column equal to a column name is currency underscore code. What is your target unit? You can give your target currency. So if you want to give a default currency, you can give, or if you want to, what do you call, read it from any standard table if you have any, right? So based on the user, you can pass that value as well. Right? So for now, we'll just give euros. Okay, USD. Let's see what it takes by default. Okay, and I'll give reference underscore date. I'll pass the today's date. Okay, current date. V underscore today, and output column. Output underscore unit underscore CUL column, and I'll put currency underscore code underscore output. Oh, this is the column what I want. And I have passed all these parameters, and finally I'm putting everything into this cross underscore amount. Okay, this is what we have done. So we have used LV underscore today, right? So let me go to the top and just try to read this today's date. Select underscore date. Oh, okay. We got the today's date. Okay, this is fine. Good, and we have written the currency conversion. Now we'll try to do the final gross values, because once we got the currency, converted currency into our gross underscore amount, we need to file the final gross. Let's say final gross amount. Select BP underscore ID underscore name. We want the sum of the gross amount. And we are passing the currency as USD, right? USD as currency underscore code from the above table, which is LD underscore amounts. And we have used the average sum function. We need to use the group by for the rest of the ways. BPID, name, and the currency code. Clear till this point. So now we'll finally update the output entries. So we have done till open days, right? For gross amount, we'll change it now. right? So now how we'll change this? We'll say gross dot gross underscore amount as gross amount, right? And dot currency underscore code as currency underscore code. And now we'll do the joins. Now we'll do an inner join onto the final gross, which is LD underscore final underscore gross amount as gross on gross dot BP underscore ID equal to SAP ABAP 1 dot SNWD underscore BPA dot BP underscore ID. That's it. Any questions? Okay.
So the gross dot gross amount, gross is a table.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, gross dot BPID.
Okay. So what we have done is, so whatever the value we got at the top, or what are the values we got as part of this currency conversion, right? Sorry. Yeah. After that, this one. We got all the entries which matches this records whatever we have after the currency conversion, and we are doing the sum of those gross amounts, right? So I'm passing, or I am doing or putting an alias for this table, so that there is no need for me to write the entire tables in this here.
Oh, okay.
I put in just an alias of gross, and I have just placed that alias or there at the top.
Okay, got it.
Okay, let me try to execute this. Okay, has I have declared LB underscore today, right? Oh, okay. I think I did not declare, just wrote the code. Okay. Let me declare declare. Okay. But I think we should be good now. Let me execute this one. Okay, I think I need to provide the schema name as well. Correct syntax, the 28. So let me see. Cannot find table used in.
So do we need item
Okay.
dot?
No, I think this will sometimes causes problems. Okay, I'm passing this amount, family, methods, steps, client, column, target unit, reference date.
Do we need item dot gross amount, or gross amount will work?
It should work. It should be fine. Cannot find table. Okay, what we can do is But if I do this, let me go back here. User creating in our it's for ABAP user, right? Let me check if I can give any schema here inside this so that we can let system to go and use this one. Let's see if I can. I need to see the parameter schema if I have any schema. Okay, it is taking the current schema. I think, yeah, this is the problem. It is not taking. Let me try to give the schema here. In our case, which is SAP ABAP 1. Let me try to execute this. Invalid currency code 42. Oh no, not this one. Okay. Okay, it got crossed. I think. Let me check this 42. What happened to some more? Some more. Okay, this one. So this is not a dynamic value, right? It is not taking it. So it's like USD. Company name. At 41. Okay, and AMAPPID glass underscore. Okay, it got executed. Yeah, because what's happening is, as we saw earlier, schema is pretty much important, right? So because this is a function, because tables, how we are accessing the tables, we are just placing the relevant SAP ABAP 1, right, which is our standard SAP schema before the table. So it is accessing it. So the function will not accept similar fashion. Okay, so that's why what we did was we have, when we are trying to do the conversion, we have specifically telling that go and check or get this particular schema and then do the conversion and try to access the methods. Got my point? That's why if you remove this, again you'll get the same error. Why? Because it goes to the standard SAP schema. Sorry, by default it goes to our current schema because we are creating everything in our schema. So it goes to the current schema because this is the standard built-in SAP function. It will not be present in our schema. So we get an error. So to remove that, what we can do is, if you tell the conversion function that go to the standard SAP schema, then, right, so then it should be able to access that particular method ERP and do the currency conversion. How can you specify what schema it needs to go when you're doing a currency conversion? You need to use the keyword called schema and pass the SAP schema. And one more important thing is, so for all the systems, the name will not be same. Okay, it all depends on how your base system is configuring it in your landscape. So how you can check the schema? Go to SAP S/4HANA system. When I say SAP, go to S/4HANA system, click on system status, right? Scroll down. Whatever the schema you see here, this is the one which you need to use. Clear? And this is not a standard name or conversion what you get when you install the system. The standard or default name is SAP HANA DB. I think, yeah. If your basis engineer did not touch anything in terms of names or anything, right? It will be SAP HANA DB, I guess. Yeah, SAP HANA DB. If they change anything, right? So you need to come here first, cross check that name, and then you need to use that particular schema while trying to access the tables. If not, you'll not be able to access them. Clear? Okay, good. So now let me try to come back and run the scenario, and let's see what the output we'll get. Okay, again we got some error. It says oh, we have some value conversion issues. Okay, could not determine valid conversion rate. Okay, so why we get this kind of error? Because you see this error a lot while doing the currency conversion or a unit conversion. What happens is, if your functional consultants, right, so did not maintain the values for this currency conversion, JPY to USD, right? So in that cases, we generally get this error. So we can go further because the records would have some JPY records. So we will not be able to go forward unless we solve the currency conversion. Okay, but you understand the concept, right? So how to use a currency conversion, or any questions? Because if you let me execute that model here. So here they would have USD CAD, right? CHF. See, JPY we have, or else we will do one thing. We'll try to use the parameter skip and see if that does like how we did it here. Let me check the name of it. Error handling. By default, it's on fail and error, right? So it is not allowing us to do. So what we'll do now is we'll say, sorry guys, just say, or else keep unconverted. That would be easy for us. We'll say just don't convert only that particular value and just keep rest of the things fine. Okay, let me execute this. Okay, now if you see, what should happen is the other entity should converted. Yeah, if you see here, everything got converted to USD. So what are the values you see? Yeah, we will not be able to tell here because we are displaying USD for all the things, right? So we are not displaying it based on the dynamic values. Like if the particular user is from US or Canada or Europe, right? So we don't know that idea. That's why we are just hard coded. But why this would have passed now is because the similar conversion what we have used, or the similar concept what we have done when trying to build information model, right? So if something goes wrong in conversion, just keep that record. The same concept we have used it here, right? We just asked it to just don't convert it and jump to the next step. But generally in production systems, by default, you should not touch this one because the default values fail on error. So there is no need for you to add this particular property in the live systems. Clear, or any questions? Just have a look at it for a couple of seconds and let me know if you have any questions.
So nowadays, no one is using the attribute views or analytical views. Everyone is using in the current version.
Yeah, so frankly
right?
speaking, if you are working on S4HANA 2.0, so those two views does not exist at all. When I say does not exist, they are deprecated. So that means they will be there, but we generally will not be going and creating them. They are deprecated. So if you start, or when you start working on the S4HANAs, you will be working directly on the CDS view. But what happens in the background is, as I said, right? So whenever you create a CDS view, few views will be created at the backend. Just to understand that particular thing, we also need to understand what attribute is, how the data looks like, how the structure looks. That's why I started from there. And I'll show you when we come to the CDS part, what happens in the background, so that you'll get a fair understanding of this too. But yeah, if you want to create an attribute view now, you cannot do it on S4HANA system.
Oh, okay.
clear or any questions? Have a look at this conversion. Let me know if you have any questions. Just take a couple of minutes. Right. So this is how we can do a currency conversion. But if you are working on an information model, if you are trying to build an information model, it's mostly a what do you call it, a parameter usage. So it's like you get a UI, select what are the fields you want, what are the values you want, just do it. It's a straightforward. But if you are working on SQL script, it's most like we write the code manually. Clear? So if you see, right, so whatever the views we created, so if you open this here in the information models, sorry. So if you try to recall what I have told earlier, right? If you go to the SysBig, right? If you go to the SysBig in the SAP web schema, we created in that schema, right? If you go to this SysBig, and if you try to check for the view, this is what happens. It's a bit tough. This one I'm not able to get. Let me try to go back and select them. Okay, we should, okay, what I was trying to show you is, so if you open this particular runtime view, whatever the SQL script code we are trying to do, the similar code will be written in the background as well when you create the information views. So that one, we are trying to create it manually by ourselves using the SQL script code.
Okay.
Right? Good. Okay, we have executed this and we got the output. Okay, we have the last field, which is tagging, right? Now we'll try to update the tagging field as well. Sorry. Just give me a second, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, let's try to update the tagging field as well now. That's the one field which is pending with us. Good. So now let's concentrate on the tagging. I'll say LT underscore scenario. Oh, sorry. Okay, we will do one thing. We'll just simply change the name of this to LT underscore scenario. And now to the output variable, this is what I'll be sending. What I'll be sending a simple converted query. Okay, I'll say select BP underscore ID, company underscore name, open underscore days, gross underscore amount, currency underscore code. Right now, see what I'm doing. So I want to update the tagging field. Here, inside the select statement, I'll use something called a case statement. Case when gross underscore amount greater than, say, some 2000, and open underscore this greater than, let me go and see that, greater than, we'll put 2100. 2100, and then mark tagging field as X, else just leave blank. Have a look at this. Clear or any questions? So I did not do much. So the first thing what I've done is I have just renamed my table final output because I need to write one more query. So I just don't want to make this one complex. You can write it here as well, but just to simplify, I wrote what I have done is I took it into another implicit internal table, and then I just passed whatever the output I get into this table, and then on the tagging field based on the gross amount and the open days, I'm tagging that particular field as X. If it is gross amount is less than 2000 and open days is less than 2100, right, I'm tagging it as blank. Clear or any questions on this one? The same thing, this particular case statement, you can write it here as well. Just to simplify, I wrote it here. Okay, let me try to execute. Okay, I missed something here. What it says, incorrect syntax, that's 52 column 55 or 52 here. Okay, sorry. So I did not what you call end the case statement and as I use case when and right, I did not use end statement. So execute. Okay, good. We are good now. Let's come here. Go back to the query, execute it. Now, if you see, if your amount is greater than 2000 and if your open days are greater than 2100, our field tagging field is marked as X. For rest of the fields, if you see here, gross amount is less than 979 and open days is less than 2100. So we got all those space values. This is how you can also use case statements inside the select statement and do some calculations. Any questions?
How did you know about the column? The error message said like column 37, something like that.
I did not get your point. What was that?
No, the error message, it said column 37 line.
Right. Yeah, if you just select this line, right, you can see at the bottom, 52 line.
Oh, okay.
Here you can see.
Line 52, column 7.
Yes. If you go here, it should be here. 35. Okay, let me try to remove this. 52, 35, right? So now if you see 52, 36, this is what error is showing. Now I'm currently at 35. If you go to 36, so this is where something is missing.
Oh, okay. And position is also listed in the error message.
Yes.
Okay.
If I just add this, it should be good.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, before we wrap up this particular scenario, the entire end-to-end scenario, what we have done in terms of SQL script, any questions around it? Just have a look at it, because this we'll be using in the next concept. So just take few minutes of your time, have a look at the entire code, and let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, we need to practice it also, then only.
Yes, that's an obvious, because the script is completely new, right? So as an developer, we just cannot go there and start using new script directly. And you should do some practice, then only you will get the feel of the syntax, right? And the keywords, what we should use, with where we need to use, and all that stuff.
Yeah, because the using case in select
Inside the
statement.
select is the, this is what they have introduced as part of this. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you see what are the output we are trying to focus, right? So the same thing here, whatever we have tried to display it in the, or we have created it in the information model, the same kind of an output we have created using SQL script, plain SQL script. Clear? Or any questions before we go to the next topic? Okay, good. So this is our complete end-to-end scenario of the open item days analysis, whatever we have done, right? We got the details, we got the open days, we also know what's the gross amount, what is the currency code, and we have done some tagging based on the select case statement, what we have written in the select statement. Right? We have completed this end-to-end scenario similar to the information model scenario, what we have built in our illustrations. So if you try to recall, we discussed about ADBCs, right? So we talked about what is ADBC, right? What is view proxy, right? So okay, let me go back to here. Okay, just in case if you are, we talked about ADBCs, right? Yes, no? Okay, let me.
Sure, actually.
Yeah, okay, I'll check my this what you call my course coverage content. So I should be marking it if topic is completed. I'll have a look at it. If not, I'll cover it. No problem, right? I think I have covered it, but let me cross check. Okay, right. Good. So for now, just leave ADBC side, because I'm not so sure if I covered it or not. So today, what we'll try to do is we'll try to show you something called view proxies. Okay. View proxy, right? So view proxy, we can also call it as a procedure proxy. Both are one and the same. Let's see how we can create a database procedure proxy, right? Using ADT. Let's see how we can do that. Click on new file, new, other. Here, if you type database procedure proxy, you'll get this one. So you will get inside the ABAP folder, you'll get something called a database procedure proxy. So people call this with many names. They call it as a database procedure proxy. They simply call it as a procedure proxy. Few people call it as a view proxy, right? The name is one and the same. Say next. Give some name. I'll just give G December underscore procedure proxy, right? December. Okay, here if you see, so at the bottom, if you see, it is asking me to provide me a HANA procedure. Right, so whatever the HANA procedure you have or you want to consume it inside your ABAP system, you need to provide that particular proxy here, right? Let me see if we can use the procedure which we created, which is proc_SCEM, because we need to have an access. If not, yeah, see, okay, project package name, which project I have created that. I think I need to go back. See batch. Okay, I think it accepted. Let me try to click on next. It's not there. Okay. Let me go and check the package first. Rock_SCEM, right? We have saved it in the S4 ABAP user schema. So I don't think we'll have an access to consume this particular proxy or here. Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to access it this one because right again if I have access. Should kick me off. So here it is PROC_CEN. Yeah, it is not taking actually. So this HANA procedure is not considering. Let's use the standard one just to show you.
Package name is already displayed above, right?
Yeah, that's what. So package name is this one. This is ABAP package, not the HANA's one. But package name is not needed actually. Once you have the access to that particular object, right, you should be able to use. So I'll do one thing. So one thing happens here, but let me show you this one. Okay, let me specify the package name. Okay, let me go to the next. So it says this is not available in the DB catalog. So this is a standard one actually. This is a standard procedure which is there on the schema.
And what is the parameter type proxy there?
Which one? Sorry, I closed it. Just give me a minute. Let me check the standard one and see this for ABAP one. I'm not getting it because actually that convert should be there here. I could not recall this one. Let me take one procedure to see anything. So this is the procedure which we have, which we have it in the system, right? So let's try to see if we can here at least. Just to show you. Okay, let me go back here. We can go to file, give something here, all of it here. Okay, here I'll give the procedure. Let's see if it takes some. Yeah, this is not taking. Let me look at it. This generally what should happen is, so we'll just provide the name. We'll just provide the HANA procedure name, whatever we create here. Okay, let me check the version first. Let me go back here. Okay, this is 99 only. It should be fine then. Yeah, we should get this schema over here. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me try to create this inside the HANA schema. Default SAP HANA schema instead of our custom one. Let's see if I will get that. Generally should not happen because of these issues of access. Let's try to use that one. Okay, let me create that one as well. Okay, let me try to create the table type. Table type, we don't have it. Let me create the table type inside the SAP schema. Schema we are in this one. It's for ABAP use. Okay, I don't let this. So don't save. Okay, now we'll create a schema. We'll change to our standard schema rather than inside the custom schema, right? We'll go to the standard schema, try to create the same thing over here just by doing a copy paste, and let's see if you are able to take it. Because this is a demo system, right? So we'll not be given full access just to see the entire end-to-end steps. So we'll try to see if we can fit something here, right? If yes, we'll try to continue with the process, try to execute this, try to consume it and see. If not, I'll think of some other way. Okay. Okay. Let's first start. So let me just see the current schema. Okay, as for a ABAP user, right, so we don't want as for a ABAP user. We want a SAP ABAP one. Okay, so now we'll change the schema. Okay, we got the SAP schema. Execute. Sorry, I'm here to create a table deposit. Let me create the table deposit. I need to go to the runtime.
Hello. What's that?
I need to write it. Okay. Let me quickly create this one, or just the table.
Hey. Mana? In toilet na?
Create the scenario. What is the table type? Let me check with this one. If this does not work out, let me think of some other way where we can execute this one. Okay, var care of 20. Sorry, var care of Some 80. You have covered all the things, right? BPID, company name, open days, gross amount, currency, total time. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna create table type, as table, BPID. Okay. SQL syntax error, line 1, column 8.
Is there already a table type called TT underscore SCEN?
In SAP ABAP one, I don't think we created, right?
Oh, okay.
Let me see. I'm not too sure. I also need to check. No, it's not there. We have created it inside the our custom schema, which is for the user as for ABAP user. Create SCEN decimal. Fusion 7. Sorry, create type. Okay, it got executed. And now we should see that one here. Let me try it. Yeah, you can see the TT underscore scene cells. Now let me paste it here, execute, and now let me go to the wrap screen. Database Procedure Proxy. No. Okay. I think the standard one is also not. Generally, it should take. So there is no need for us to give this one also. Okay. Let me check. Come back on this one. Generally, I used to use the standard ones and try to run this one, but here I am getting HANA procedure not available in DB catalog. Okay, let me check on this one. If this is really access related issue, I'll try to get the access. That based on that we'll do. Any questions on the OAA model? Everyone clear, right?
Yeah, I had one question. This parameter type interface, what is that?
Which one? Okay, this if you have idea on the OABAP, right? So what generally happens is, so whenever you create a proxy, so even if you try to create a proxy in SC80, right? Did you create any proxies earlier?
No.
No, right? So what happens is, when you create a proxy for any object, so generally we create for a web services, we create for other procedures, right? So whenever you create a proxy in the backend, what happens is it will be converted into the objects, web of objects. Like you'll have interfaces, you will have classes and all. So that's what this particular parameter type interface is. So once you create this, right, so whatever the code will be writing it inside that particular thing. So once we create it, I can show you how it looks like and how we need to access it. Right? But that's what a interface is. So if you have concept or if you have idea of what an interface is, what a class is, yeah, you should be able to easily correlate with it.
Okay.
Okay, any questions? Okay, good then. So let's meet again on our next session on Tuesday, right? IST timings. So by then I'll try to see if I can get some access or get the root cause of it. But I did not get this error any time before. So I'm also pretty much new. I need to do some research and see what's happening wrong, right? Once we are done, I'll continue with this particular topic and slowly we'll move forward. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for joining today's session and have a good weekend. And let's meet again on Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to visit our Vimeo page and follow for more upcoming videos.